Chosen one. Stop scrolling. Heaven has pressed pause on everything around you to deliver this message not by chance, but by divine appointment. You are not here because the algorithm found you. You are here because the voice of eternity is calling your name. This is the moment heaven interrupts your routine to declare one thing: restoration has already begun. You may not see it yet, but the unseen realm is already shifting on your behalf. There are doors unlocking in dimensions you haven't even prayed about yet. The weight you've carried, the dreams you've buried, and the peace you thought you lost, they are all being called back into existence. You are entering a chapter that does not rewrite your pain, it redeems it. The Spirit whispers, you did not lose because you were unworthy. You lost because heaven was rearranging your destiny. The things that slipped through your fingers were never meant to stay. God did not allow subtraction to punish you. He allowed it to position you. There is a difference between being buried and being planted. Buried things stay hidden and die, but planted things rise again stronger, fuller, and multiplied. You, chosen one, were never buried, you were planted. You have felt forgotten. You've watched others rise while you remained in the shadows. You've cried in silence, asking heaven, when will it be my turn? Listen carefully, your turn is not coming, it has already begun. This very moment is a divine announcement that the waiting season has ended. The wind of restoration is moving, and your name is on the current, as was spoken in the sacred texts of old. Isaiah, chapter 40, verse 31. Those who hope in the Lord will renew strength, they will soar on eagle wings. Run without wearying. You've been weary. You've been walking through fog and fire, feeling like your strength has evaporated. Yet God says, you will soar again. Not crawl, not limp. Soar. The same wind that looked like opposition will now lift you higher. Every delay that frustrated you will now be seen as divine timing. Every loss that broke you will now become the soil of your miracle. Heaven is saying, I am restoring not just what you lost, but who you were before the loss. You lost laughter, peace, confidence, but you are about to receive them back in a form that cannot be taken again. This is not a partial recovery. This is divine restoration in its purest form. Listen. Chosen one, God's restoration is not replacement. Replacement gives you something similar. Restoration gives you something greater. It means you will look back and thank Him for every door that closed. Because what's coming will make you forget the pain of what left. The hands of heaven are not returning what was, they are revealing what was always meant to be. This is not a coincidence. You have been marked by divine design. Heaven is invading your timeline because the enemy has taken enough. The season of scarcity is breaking. The drought is over. You are stepping into the rain of favor, the downpour of answered prayers, and the overflow of promises fulfilled. Right now, lift your eyes and whisper, I'm ready, Lord. Because readiness is the gateway of release. The moment your spirit says yes, heaven starts moving. The light you carry terrifies darkness. The favor on you breaks the rules of delay. You are not behind time, you are right on schedule for divine reversal. Do not let doubt steal this word. Do not let fear make you question what you've already seen in your spirit. You have felt the stirrings. You know this message is not just words on a screen, it is confirmation of everything your soul has been sensing. Chosen one. This is your call to rise. Heaven is not suggesting, it is commanding. The same power that raised Lazarus from the grave is summoning your joy, your calling, your destiny back to life. You will walk in rooms that once ignored you. You will hold blessings that once belonged to others. Because when God restores, He does not return things as they were, He makes them new, radiant, and multiplied. This word is not for everyone. It's for the one who has felt unseen, yet kept believing. It's for the one who stayed faithful while feeling forgotten. And that one is you. So right now, if you feel this resonating deep within your spirit, take a prophetic step. Type 777 inches, the comments as your declaration of alignment, 777, the number of divine completion. Like, share, and subscribe if your heart knows this message is yours. Because the act of obedience opens the floodgate of favor. Your restoration has begun. Chosen one, the wind is blowing in your direction. Do not fear what you've lost. Rejoice for what's returning. Chosen one, take a breath. Let your soul settle as the truth unfolds. You did not wander through the wilderness for nothing. Every lonely night, every unanswered prayer, every dry season was a divine classroom. The wilderness was not punishment, it was preparation. Heaven was not ignoring you, it was refining you. When everything seemed silent, heaven was speaking in another frequency, teaching your spirit to discern beyond what your eyes could see. The wilderness is where false attachments die. It's where your heart learns to depend on the voice of God instead of the applause of people. It's where strength is forged, not in comfort, but in confrontation with fear, with doubt, with silence. Many ran from that place, but you stayed. You stayed when others gave up, and that decision marked you for restoration. There were moments when the path seemed endless, where hope felt like a distant echo. You questioned, Lord, why did you lead me here? And heaven's quiet reply was, because I am building something in you that abundance could never teach. You learned endurance. You learned trust. You learned how to hear the whisper of God in the middle of the storm. You see, the wilderness reveals your true capacity. It's the place where God removes the excess, the opinions, the pride, the distractions, and shapes the vessel He will fill. Before He can give abundance, He must ensure the heart can carry it. Your pain was not random, it was a purifying fire. And even now, the ashes beneath your feet are becoming the soil of a new beginning. When you thought God had forgotten you, He was actually standing closer than ever. The silence wasn't rejection, it was an invitation to listen deeper. The absence you felt was not abandonment, it was transformation. You were being trained to recognize His movement, not by sight, but by spirit. As we are reminded through the writings of David in the Psalms, Psalm chapter 126, verse 5, those who sow with tears will reap with songs of joy. Your tears were never wasted. Every one of them was a seed, and the ground you watered with weeping is now producing a harvest. You cried, thinking it was over, but heaven was counting every drop as evidence of faith. You stayed faithful when faith made no sense, and that obedience has been recorded in the eternal archives of heaven. God saw you when you pressed through the weariness. He saw the night you said, Lord, I'll keep going, even if no one notices. He saw the day you wanted to quit, but whispered one more prayer instead. Those moments were sacred. They became the altar where your restoration began. You didn't lose time in the wilderness, you gained maturity. You didn't lose opportunities, you gained discernment. You didn't lose love, you learned what love truly is. Heaven was not subtracting, it was upgrading your spirit for the glory to come. The wilderness is also where divine alignment happens. Old voices fade, so you can hear the one voice that matters. Old doors close, so heaven can guide you to the one that leads to destiny. You may not have understood the isolation then, but soon you'll realize it was divine insulation. God was protecting you from distractions that would have derailed your purpose. Now, as you stand on the edge of restoration, you can feel the shift. The same wilderness that once broke you now becomes your testimony. You no longer resent it, you recognize its beauty. You can look back and say, "It was good that I was afflicted, for now I know the ways of my God." And here's the truth. Chosen one, the wilderness season is the birthplace of prophets, warriors, and leaders. Moses met God there. David was shaped there. Jesus overcame temptation there. And now you are emerging from that sacred place, carrying a depth you never had before. You may still see some dust of the desert on your soul, but it's holy dust. It's proof that you've walked through something and survived. It's proof that the fire didn't destroy you, it defined you. What once looked like loss now looks like legacy. What once felt like punishment now feels like promotion. So do not despise the wilderness. It was not a detour, it was the main road to destiny. You will look back and realize that every hidden season carried divine purpose. Heaven was writing your restoration story line by line, while the world thought your story had ended. And now, the winds begin to change. The dryness lifts. The fragrance of new rain begins to fill the air around your life. You can almost sense the green beginning to sprout beneath your feet. What was empty is about to overflow. What was silent is about to sing. What was barren is about to bloom. You are stepping out of the wilderness with a new fire, a new authority, and a new identity. You no longer walk as a victim, you walk as a vessel. You are proof that the wilderness was never wasted. It was the sacred forge where heaven shaped you into a carrier of divine restoration. Chosen one. Remember that moment when everything fell apart. The day when what you built with faith and effort seemed to crumble in a heartbeat. You looked at the fragments of your plans and wondered, why would God allow this? Yet, in that very collapse, heaven was doing construction work that human eyes could not see. It wasn't destruction, it was divine demolition. God had to break the structure that could no longer carry your destiny so he could rebuild something unshakable. What looked like an ending was, in truth, the removal of foundations not designed for your future. The people who walked away were not stolen from you. They were escorted out by divine order. The doors that slammed shut were not rejection, they were redirection. You thought everything was lost. But the truth is that heaven was removing the counterfeit to make room for the authentic. The Spirit whispers, "Do you not know that I was with you, even when the walls fell? You thought you failed." But God says, "I was resetting the stage. What felt like ruin was a reset. What looked like failure was hidden favor. Every broken piece you tried to hold on to was meant to be released so that the masterpiece could emerge. When you looked around and saw ashes, God was already writing beauty into the script. When you said, 'It's over,' heaven replied, 'It's beginning.' Every tear that fell during that collapse became a signature on the contract of restoration. Nothing was wasted, not one heartbreak, not one betrayal. not one delay. As the ancient words declare in Psalm, chapter 127, verse 1, "Unless the Lord builds the house, they labor in vain who build it." You were building on the best you knew, but heaven knew better. God never destroys without the intention to rebuild. He allowed what you built to fall, not because you were unworthy, but because he wanted to lay his own foundation, one that cannot be shaken by time, people, or circumstance. Sometimes he lets your tower fall so that your altar can rise. Sometimes he allows your dream to collapse so that he can replace it with his destiny. This is the sacred paradox of divine restoration. You lose to gain. You break to be made whole. You fall to rise higher. The enemy wanted the collapse to define you, but God is using it to refine you. You may have walked through the fire, but you are walking out without the smell of smoke. You may have been struck down, but you were never destroyed. What you thought was the end has only unveiled your resilience and revealed God's sovereignty. Do you remember how you prayed before the fall? You asked God for growth, for wisdom, for strength. What you didn't realize is that sometimes the answer to those prayers comes disguised as loss. God answers by removing the unnecessary, by shaking what cannot stand, by refining what must remain. That's what the collapse was. It was heaven's answer, dressed in mystery. You thought you were losing control, but heaven was reclaiming it. The ruins you see today are not evidence of failure. They are evidence of faith being tested and proven genuine. You are standing amid fragments, but those fragments are becoming the foundation stones of your future. Chosen one. The rebuilding has already begun. New blueprints are being drawn in heaven with your name on them. The materials of your next chapter are not from this world. They are spiritual, enduring, and glorious. You will soon see that the collapse was not random. It was rehearsed in the throne room long before it reached your life. The same God who allowed the fall is now commanding the rise. He is saying, "I will restore every wall you thought would never stand again." But this time, the walls will not just protect, they will proclaim. Your restoration will become the testimony that silences doubt. So, when you look at what was lost, don't mourn what cannot return. Celebrate what is about to emerge. You are not the same person who once built out of fear and ambition. You are now building with revelation and strength. You are no longer constructing with your own hands. You are co-laboring with heaven. Take a breath. The dust is settling. The light is breaking through. And soon the structure of your new life will stand tall. You will look back and thank God for every fall, because it became the foundation of your flight. Now, as a prophetic act of agreement, write this in the comments: I rise again. Let it be more than words. It's a declaration that your collapse has turned into your comeback. Say it with faith, because when you type it, you announce to every shadow, every memory, every fear that you refuse to stay buried in yesterday's ruins, you rise. Chosen one, not by might, not by power, but by the Spirit of the living God. Chosen one. Even when your eyes saw nothing moving, heaven was at work behind the curtain. You thought silence meant absence, but silence was strategy. God was not inactive, he was invisible. His hand was arranging divine connections, orchestrating events, and preparing hearts long before you would ever see the results. The hidden hand of restoration never sleeps. You prayed, and it seemed like the heavens were made of brass. You knocked, and the doors stayed closed. You questioned, "Did my prayers even reach you, Lord?" Yet, in that stillness, the eternal architect was building the bridge between your brokenness and your breakthrough. Heaven's timeline doesn't follow human urgency. While you were waiting, God was weaving. He was aligning people in positions you don't yet know. He was softening hearts that once resisted you. He was turning the hearts of those who forgot you, awakening their memory of your name. The silence that frightened you was the sound of God rearranging everything for your restoration. The unseen hand of God has always been your greatest defense. You didn't realize how many traps never reached you. How many words spoken against you were silenced mid-air. Heaven has been intercepting the weapons formed in secret. The arrows meant to wound you have been turned into instruments of growth. You are standing here today not because of luck, but because divine intervention covered you in the shadows. When you felt forgotten, the Creator was writing your next chapter in secret. When you felt rejected, He was redirecting you toward the promise. The hidden hand of God is the mystery that sustains the chosen ones. It works quietly, but its results roar. As the voice of God thundered in the book of Exodus, chapter 14, verse 14, "The Lord will fight for you. You need only to be still." Stillness is not inactivity, it is trust. It is the resting of your spirit in the assurance that God is working even when you cannot trace Him. To the human eye, nothing moved. But in the unseen realm, everything was shifting. Every delay was divine alignment. Every detour was heaven's shortcut to destiny. You were never abandoned. You were being protected from premature exposure. The enemy wanted to destroy you before you matured, but God concealed you in the shadow of His hand. You were hidden not because you were forgotten, but because you were precious. The hidden seasons were not punishment, they were preservation. God hides His most valuable vessels until the appointed time, just as a seed must remain underground before it breaks through the soil. Your purpose required incubation. The dark seasons were not your ending, they were your becoming. The silence was the sound of heaven preparing a reveal. You see, restoration is often quiet before it becomes visible. The roots grow long before the bloom. You are now beginning to feel the stirring beneath the surface. The signs may be subtle, a renewed peace, a glimmer of hope, a sudden clarity. But make no mistake, the hidden hand is moving. Look closer. The coincidences you've noticed lately are not coincidences at all. That unexpected message, that open door, that moment of clarity, all of it is heaven's handwriting. What once seemed random is now revealing divine design. The God who hid you is now revealing you. The season of obscurity is ending, and visibility is approaching. But this unveiling will not come with noise or chaos. It will come with grace. Restoration is not always loud. Sometimes it's the quiet reappearance of joy, the subtle return of confidence, the gentle unfolding of new opportunities. You will wake up one morning and realize, it's happening. I didn't even see it begin. But now it's here. Chosen one. Let this truth sink deep. God's hand has never left your life, even in the chapters you'd rather forget. He was there, redirecting what the enemy meant for destruction. Every heartbreak, every betrayal, every delay has been recycled into your destiny. Nothing was wasted. There will come a day when you'll look back and say, "Now I see it. Now I understand why it had to happen that way." And when you do, You'll stand in awe at the brilliance of his plan. For while you were questioning, he was constructing. While you were doubting, he was designing. And now, what was hidden will be revealed not by your striving, but by his timing. You won't need to push open the doors. They will swing wide of their own accord. You won't need to chase what is yours. It will recognize you and return home. This is the beauty of divine restoration. It never comes through force, only through faith. You will simply step into what heaven has already prepared. The same hand that hid you will now present you, refined, radiant, and ready. Chosen one. There were nights you wondered if God had turned his face away, when prayers seemed unanswered and hope faded like smoke in the wind. Your heart whispered, "Maybe I've been forgotten." But you were never forsaken, not for a moment, not for a breath. What felt like abandonment was the silence of strategy. Heaven trusted you enough to walk through the dark without losing your flame. You see, silence is not rejection, it's refinement. Just as gold must pass through fire before it shines, your faith had to pass through silence before it could sing. God was not ignoring you. He was teaching you to recognize his presence in stillness. The teacher is always silent during the test. But once the lesson is complete, revelation arrives. As was written in the sacred letter of Hebrews, chapter 13, verse 5, "I will never leave you nor forsake you." You were not alone when you cried yourself to sleep. You were not abandoned when doors closed without explanation. The one who holds galaxies together was sitting beside you in that quiet room, counting your tears like treasures. The Father who hides himself in mystery never stopped holding your story in his hands. He was there in the doctor's office when you feared the worst. He was there in the moment your heart broke and you couldn't breathe. He was there when people you trusted walked away, and you were left staring at the ruins. Every moment of pain became a verse in your restoration song. Think of the seed, buried in darkness beneath the earth. It doesn't know why it's been covered, why the sunlight has disappeared. Yet, in that hidden place, something miraculous begins to happen. The shell cracks, roots form, life awakens. The seed isn't being buried, it's being positioned for resurrection. That is your story. God buried you in the soil of silence so that you could grow unseen. The pressure you felt was not punishment, it was the weight of transformation. You were taking root for something greater, something eternal. When the time was right, you would break through the surface, stretching toward the light that once felt far away. You have been walking through a tunnel that felt endless. But there is light at the end, not a flicker, but a dawn. The same God who allowed the silence will soon fill your life with songs again. And when the sound of joy returns, it will echo louder because you've known the sound of sorrow. Beloved, the one who called you has not changed his mind about you. His promise has no expiration date. Even when you doubted, even when you wandered, grace followed you like a shadow. You may have felt lost, but heaven never lost sight of you. And now, as this message reaches you, it comes not as mere words, but as confirmation. God is still with you. His presence hasn't diminished, it's deepened. His silence has been the womb of your next miracle. Soon, you will understand that being forsaken was never your reality. It was your training ground. In that understanding, something sacred happens. You begin to see his fingerprints in every memory. You realize he was the reason you didn't break, the reason you kept going, the reason you're still standing today. He didn't just watch from a distance, he carried you through valleys you didn't even recognize as valleys. So now, take a deep breath. Let gratitude rise in you like morning light. You are not the same as before. You are stronger, softer, wiser. The silence that once tormented you has become your sanctuary. You've learned to recognize God in whispers, in pauses, in the unspoken. That is the mark of the chosen. If these words are touching something deep in your spirit, pause for a moment of gratitude. Whisper, "Thank you, Lord, for never leaving me." And if you feel led, share this message. You never know whose midnight might end because of your obedience. When you like, share, or subscribe, it's not just digital interaction, it's planting light into the algorithm of darkness. Every click, every share, is a ripple that can reach someone who's drowning in silence, just like you once were. Be the messenger you once needed. And if your heart feels moved to give, to help keep this light burning, consider it an act of faith, like pouring oil into the lamp that keeps hope alive for others walking through their night. Your giving, no matter the size, becomes part of heaven's restoration story. You're not donating to a person, you're sowing into purpose. Every seed you plant helps this message of faith and fire reach another soul, waiting to be reminded that they are not forsaken. Because this isn't about platforms or programs, it's about people. It's about one broken heart hearing that they are still loved. One weary soul realizing that God has not left. And maybe that one heart is listening right now because you decided to act. So walk in this truth: you were never forsaken. You are held. You are seen. You are loved beyond comprehension. The silence is ending. Chosen one, the dawn is near. Chosen one. There are moments in life when heaven begins to whisper again, after a long silence, subtle signs, divine nudges, unexpected alignments that stir something deep within your spirit. You begin to feel it before you can name it. Restoration is moving. The very air around your life changes, and your soul recognizes it as the sound of return. The same God who watched you endure now watches over the rebuilding. What once lay shattered is being pieced together by hands unseen. You may not understand the timing, but you can sense the rhythm. Heaven operates in divine mathematics cycles, numbers, patterns that mark seasons of ending and beginning. When God restores, He often stamps His work with symbols that carry prophetic meaning. In this season, heaven speaks the number 888, a number of new beginnings, resurrection, and eternal renewal. It is not coincidence that you are seeing patterns, repeating signs, or recurring reminders. These are divine signals that the door is opening wider than before. The old cycle is closing, and a new covenant of restoration is unfolding before you. The Apostle reminds us in his letter to the Philippians, chapter 1, verse 6, "He who began a good work in you will carry it on to completion until the day of Christ Jesus." That work is not halfway done. What God began in your life, He will finish beautifully. The cracks you see in the wall of your story are not flaws, they are places where light will soon pour through. Your delay has been divine design. What seemed paused was merely being perfected. You may not realize it yet, but heaven has already declared your turnaround. Angels are being dispatched. Opportunities that once ignored you are now magnetized toward you. Even hearts that shut their doors are being softened in your direction. You are standing in the early hours of a new beginning, where the scent of restoration is thicker than the memory of loss. This is why you've been feeling that unexplainable peace lately, the one that doesn't make sense compared to your circumstances. It's not your imagination. It's a sign that heaven is active. When peace enters first, breakthrough always follows. Peace is the announcement that restoration is near. Chosen one. The number 888 isn't just symbolic, it's prophetic alignment. 8 represents new creation, a fresh start, an overflowing renewal. When heaven triples a number, it's heaven's way of saying, this one is sealed. God is not just restoring you, He's multiplying everything connected to your obedience. The very places you thought were barren will become gardens again. Remember when you said, "It's too late," heaven smiled, because eternity doesn't measure time the way you do. What you call too late is what heaven calls right on schedule. You are not behind, you are being perfectly positioned. If you could see what's unfolding in the spirit, you'd understand why the warfare intensified before the blessing. The enemy always fights hardest near the gate of breakthrough, but his resistance is the proof that restoration is near completion. You are crossing the threshold of fulfillment. Your name is being written into new spaces. The dreams you buried are being resurrected. The version of you that once doubted is now rising in faith and fire. Heaven's ink is still wet on your new chapter, and it carries a divine seal, 888. Do you feel that stirring inside your chest, that trembling hope that says, something is shifting? That's the Spirit confirming what your heart already knows. You are stepping into a season where what was promised long ago will finally manifest. It won't come through striving, but through surrender. The battle that once drained you is being fought for you now. Chosen one. Pause for a moment. Close your eyes and breathe. Imagine the things you've lost: peace, joy, opportunities returning to you, not as they were, but renewed, radiant, redeemed. That's what restoration looks like. Heaven doesn't just replace, it resurrects with increase. The silence you endured is about to echo with laughter. The fields you thought were barren will soon bloom again. The waiting room of your life is turning into a throne room, where favor is announced and promises are fulfilled. Now, if this word has ignited something inside you, act on it in faith. Type 888 inches, the comments. Let it be your prophetic agreement, your declaration that you are ready for the new beginning God has ordained. When you type that number, you're not performing a ritual, you're making a spiritual proclamation. You're saying, I align with heaven's timeline. I agree with God's restoration. It's your way of stepping into the flow of divine renewal, marking this moment as the turning point in your story. Your new season is already written. Chosen one. Heaven has signed it, sealed it, and stamped it with 888. Walk forward. You're not walking into uncertainty, you're walking into fulfillment. Chosen one. There is a quiet shift happening in your life, a reversal that does not announce itself with noise, but moves with the precision of divine timing. What the enemy meant for harm is turning into harvest. Every lie, every betrayal, every closed door is now becoming a stepping stone for the glory that follows. You are walking into a season of holy reversal. Heaven has declared a verdict over your life. Case dismissed. The accusations, the losses, the wrong judgments that once surrounded you are being overturned by the supreme judge of eternity. You may not have seen it coming, but the tables are already turning in your favor. The places where you were once rejected will soon celebrate your return. For too long, you've watched others advance while you stayed in waiting. It felt unfair, as if heaven had skipped your name. But in truth, God was reserving your moment for a time when no one could take credit for it. You were not overlooked, you were preserved. The same delay that frustrated you was also the delay that kept you safe. As the ancient words recorded in Genesis, chapter 50, verse 20, declare, "You intended to harm me, but God intended it for good, to accomplish what is now being done, the saving of many lives." That scripture is not just history, it's your prophecy. Everything that wounded you is being rewritten into wisdom. The rejection that crushed you is transforming into redirection. You are not merely surviving what happened, you are thriving because of it. This is the divine paradox. The things meant to bury you become the soil for your growth. When the enemy planted pain, God planted purpose in the same ground. And now, that seed is breaking through the surface, demanding to be seen. What was done in secret against you will become public testimony for you. The reversal has begun in unseen ways. The scales of justice are tilting in your direction. The same mouths that once gossiped about you will soon testify of your favor. Those who thought they won when you fell will watch in awe as you rise with double honor. Do not rush this process. Chosen one. Reversal is delicate work. It requires both precision and patience. Like a master artist restoring a damaged painting, God is reweaving your story thread by thread, color by color. What once looked ruined will soon radiate beauty again. When you look back, you'll realize that every setback had hidden strategy in it. That relationship that ended saved you from distraction. That opportunity that fell apart redirected you toward destiny. That season of loss stripped away everything that could not carry your future. You were not being emptied, you were being prepared for overflow. God's reversals are never small. When He restores, He multiplies. Job lost everything, yet what came back was twice as much. Joseph was thrown into a pit, yet he rose to rule a nation. David was hunted like an animal, yet he became king over all Israel. And now, your story joins theirs, not as a copy, but as a continuation of divine restoration through history. You will soon see how justice manifests not revenge, but redemption. God does not pay back in the currency of bitterness, He pays back in blessings. The vindication you seek will not come through your own words, but through undeniable fruit. Your restoration will speak louder than your explanations ever could. This is why you can rest now. The battle is no longer yours, it belongs to the Lord. The same hand that parted seas and moved mountains is now realigning everything concerning you. The reversal is not dependent on your effort, it's anchored in His promise. Let peace anchor your heart. Let gratitude fill your breath. You no longer have to strive to fix what broke. Heaven has already issued the repair order. What was stolen is being returned sevenfold, not as compensation, but as confirmation that you were chosen for this very moment. You will walk back into rooms where your name was once erased. And those rooms will feel different, not because they changed, but because you did. You carry the fragrance of restoration now, and wherever you step, the atmosphere shifts. Chosen one, this is your turning season. The ashes are giving way to beauty. The night is surrendering to dawn. You are not walking backward, You are being launched forward by the very things that once held you down. The reversal has begun. Quiet but unstoppable. Heaven has already whispered your victory into the wind. And soon the world will see what faith in the dark can produce. Hold your peace. Stay the course. And watch the divine tables turn in your favor. Chosen one. Every tear you have shed has been noticed by heaven. Not a single drop has been wasted. You may have thought those nights of weeping were forgotten, but they became sacred offerings, collected in the invisible vessels of divine memory. Tears are not weakness, they are liquid prayers. Each one carries weight, meaning, and purpose in the courts of heaven. There are moments when grief feels unbearable, when your heart aches under the weight of what was lost. You tried to be strong, to smile when everything inside you was collapsing. Yet even in that hidden pain, heaven was close. The Father never turned away from your cries. He leaned in. He recorded every sob, every sigh, every whisper that said, "God, please help me." You see, your tears were not in vain, they were seeds. And now, the ground you thought was barren is about to bloom. The season of sorrow was not an ending, it was a planting. Your pain became the soil in which purpose took root. The same place where you wept will soon become the place where you rejoice. We are reminded through the writings of David in Psalm, chapter 126, verse 5. Those who sow with tears will reap with songs of joy. It is a promise written not in ink, but in eternity. Your tears built the foundation for joy's return. Heaven measures every drop, not to keep a record of suffering, but to multiply its redemption. The God who sees in secret is already preparing a harvest that will overwhelm you with gladness. You may not yet understand why certain things had to break the way they did. You may still feel the echo of loss in your chest. But even as you sit in reflection, know this healing is already growing beneath the surface. Sometimes, the soil of sorrow must crack before life can sprout. Sometimes, mourning must finish its course before laughter finds its way home. You did not cry in vain. Every tear became an ingredient in heaven's design. The pain you endured deepened your capacity for compassion, for discernment, for wisdom. You learned how to feel again, how to listen again, how to love from a place that cannot be shaken. That is the hidden work of restoration. It rebuilds you from the inside out. Tears are a language that heaven speaks fluently. When words fail, tears become your translators. They speak truth without pretense. They say, "I'm still here." They say, "I still believe." And because of that faith, your tears have written your testimony. Chosen one, if only you could see what your tears have watered. Beneath the soil of heartbreak, there are roots of renewal. Flowers of favor are preparing to bloom where sorrow once stood. The fragrance of healing is already in the air. You can almost feel it when you pause long enough to breathe. You are stepping into a season where joy and pain will coexist for a moment. But joy will win. The laughter returning to your life will not erase the memory of sorrow. It will give it meaning. Every time you smile again, heaven celebrates, because that smile testifies, "God restored me." In the economy of heaven, nothing is wasted, not tears, not heartbreak, not silence. Everything you've experienced has been recalibrated to serve your destiny. The same hands that held you in weeping are now shaping your restoration. The same God who watched your pain is now preparing your joy. When you look back, You will see a trail of divine fingerprints leading from every tear to every triumph. You will realize that those moments of brokenness were not the end of your story. They were the commas before resurrection. And when the harvest comes, it will not come in moderation. It will come pressed down, shaken together, and running over. You will not just receive joy, you will overflow with it. Because restoration doesn't return what you lost, it transforms what you lost into something eternal. Your tears were not a sign of weakness. They were evidence of your strength to feel, to endure, to trust even when nothing made sense. They proved that your heart remained alive in the midst of pain. And that kind of heart is fertile ground for miracles. So stand firm, chosen one. Let the memory of your tears remind you that God never left. He was collecting them, turning each one into a promise of joy. The season of sowing is over. The season of singing begins. You will soon laugh again, not out of denial, but out of deliverance. You will dance again, not because the pain never existed, but because it no longer defines you. And when that day comes, heaven itself will echo your joy, saying, "Look what the Lord has done." The ground that drank your tears will soon bloom with beauty. Your sorrow has not been wasted. Your tears have built the foundation of your restoration. Chosen one. There are moments when heaven speaks so clearly that the noise of the world fades away. You can sense it not in thunder, but in stillness. It's that sacred whisper that cuts through confusion and says, "Listen now, for this is the hour." The veil between the seen and unseen feels thin, and your spirit begins to tremble because you know something divine is taking place. This is that moment. Heaven is aligning your hearing. What you are sensing is not coincidence, it's confirmation. Every delay, every pause, every divine detour has been leading to this hour when your spiritual ears awaken again. You've been through seasons where you heard nothing. You prayed and felt like your words fell into emptiness. But now, the silence is breaking. The same voice that called the universe into being is calling your name again. You are hearing differently because you have changed. You have been refined through silence so that you could now recognize the authentic voice of God among the imitations. Scripture tells us in John, chapter 10, verse 27, "My sheep hear my voice, I know them, and they follow me." This is not just a statement, it's a reminder of intimacy. Hearing God's voice isn't about perfection, it's about connection. You were created to recognize His tone even when the world is shouting. You've heard that inner pull before the gentle nudge that said, "Don't go there," or "Wait just a little longer." That was Him. You may have doubted it, but heaven confirms it. Now you've been hearing correctly all along. You've mistaken delay for denial, but it was divine preparation. God was tuning your ears, removing static, and teaching you discernment. Now, when He speaks, you will no longer question whether it's Him, you will know. You will recognize His peace wrapped around His words. You will feel His authority resting upon His whisper. Chosen one. This season of restoration is not just about receiving what was lost, it's about hearing again, seeing again, believing again. Restoration begins with revelation, and revelation comes when your hearing is aligned with heaven's rhythm. The noise of life can dull your spiritual senses, but now, heaven invites you to silence the distractions, to step away from the opinions, the comparisons, the fears, and tune in to the frequency of faith. When you quiet the world, You amplify the divine. There are instructions waiting to be heard, specific directions, gentle warnings, timely confirmations. The path ahead requires sensitivity to the Spirit. You cannot afford to miss the whisper, because what's coming next depends on your ability to listen. The Father says, "I have not stopped speaking. My people have stopped listening, but not you. Chosen one, you are awakening to the sound of destiny again. The words that once confused you will now become clear. The verses you've read before will suddenly come alive with new meaning. Even dreams you dismissed as random will begin to make sense. You are entering a season where the supernatural becomes natural to you. Listen closely. Heaven does not shout to prove itself. It whispers to draw you nearer. The Creator wants intimacy, not distance. That's why His voice doesn't always thunder, it invites. It beckons you to lean in closer, to trust, to surrender. When you learn to recognize His tone, you'll stop chasing confirmation from people. You'll stop doubting your discernment. You'll stop apologizing for your obedience. Because the moment you recognize His voice, you find peace even when the path is uncertain. And here's a truth many overlook. God's voice never contradicts His word. If what you hear leads you closer to love, truth, humility, and faith, then it is His whisper. The enemy mimics noise. God manifests peace. Chosen one, this is your call to awareness. Heaven is speaking, not with thunder or lightning, but through conviction, through scripture, through quiet moments that seem ordinary yet sacred. Pay attention to those holy interruptions, the random thought that feels heavy, the sudden urge to pray, the unexpected tears when a verse crosses your path. These are not accidents. They are divine conversations. Now, let this be your moment of agreement with heaven. In faith and surrender, type, "I am listening." When you write those words, you are doing more than typing. You are answering a call. You are declaring before heaven and earth that your spiritual ears are open, that you refuse to live deaf to destiny. It's a prophetic act, a simple phrase that becomes a spiritual key. With it, you unlock new levels of understanding, new clarity, new closeness with the Creator. Say it as a promise, not just a post. Let it echo in your heart long after your fingers leave the screen. I am listening. Because from this moment forward, you will no longer miss the whispers that guide your restoration. Heaven has begun to speak again, and this time, you will hear. Chosen one, heaven is issuing a decree, the return of what was stolen, everything that slipped from your grasp, every opportunity snatched too soon, every joy that faded like smoke. None of it has disappeared forever. God's law of restoration is in motion, and the divine court has ruled in your favor. There is a principle in the unseen realm: what the enemy steals, he must return multiplied. The pain you endured, the betrayal that broke you, the years that seemed lost, these are not gone. They are being recalculated for repayment. Heaven's justice does not forget. The same God who saw Job lose everything also watched as he received double for his trouble. As was spoken long ago in the scroll of Joel, chapter 2, verse 25, "I will restore to you the years the locust has eaten." You may not understand how God can restore years, but He can. He does not merely give back time, He redeems it. Where others spent decades building, you will see acceleration. Where you thought you missed your chance, divine alignment will place you exactly where you were meant to be. right on time. You've carried wounds that became invisible, scars, dreams you buried, songs you stopped singing, confidence that faded under the weight of disappointment. But now, restoration comes not only as recompense, but as revelation. You will understand why you had to lose before you could truly receive. Think of the tide, how it withdraws before it returns stronger. The receding water is not loss, it's gathering power. That's what your last season was. Heaven pulled things back, not to punish you, but to prepare a greater wave of return. When it comes, it won't trickle, it will flood every empty space in your life. And when that flood of restoration arrives, it won't come quietly. It will be noticeable. Even those who doubted your comeback will have to acknowledge, surely, God has done this. You'll begin to see it in unexpected ways. The relationship that once felt impossible finds healing. The door that stayed closed suddenly opens with favor. The peace that once seemed unreachable wraps around your mind like sunlight after rain. That's the beauty of restoration. It happens naturally once heaven's hand moves. Beloved, remember, this divine restoration doesn't return what you lost in the same form. God upgrades. The friendships that return will carry mutual honor. The opportunities that come back will bring fruit, not frustration. The peace that revisits your heart will no longer be fragile, it will be anchored. You may look back and realize that some things you lost were never meant to return, and that's restoration too. Because real restoration is not about getting everything back, it's about recovering everything meant for you. As this truth settles into your spirit, take a moment to reflect. Who else needs to hear this? Who else is standing where you once stood, in loss, confusion, or despair? When you share this message, you become a vessel of restoration yourself. Every like, every share, every word you pass forward becomes a seed of hope planted in another heart. Don't think of it as a click or a gesture. Think of it as lighting a candle in someone's darkness. Maybe they'll see the glow and find their way home too. And to those who feel moved to pour oil back into this flame that keeps these words reaching others, you are not just donating, you're building altars of hope in unseen places. Like the widow who offered her last bit of oil and watched it multiply, your giving becomes part of the miracle. It keeps the message alive, reaching souls across nations who need to know that God still restores. Your generosity, your engagement, your willingness to share, these are not small acts. They are ripples in eternity. A single word of encouragement can rescue a heart from despair. A single share can cross oceans. A single act of giving can sustain a voice that speaks for heaven. So when you feel that pull to support, to connect, to give, don't ignore it. That's heaven's invitation for you to partner in restoration. Because the miracle that reaches you is never meant to stop with you. It flows through you. Chosen one. Heaven's gavel has struck. What was stolen must return. And as it does, may your life become living proof that nothing surrendered to God is ever truly lost. The locusts may have eaten the past, but they cannot devour your destiny. What's ahead will outshine what was behind. Your restoration is already in motion, quiet, steady, unstoppable. Watch as every loss becomes legacy. Every scar becomes story. Every stolen thing finds its way back, shining brighter than before. Chosen one. There comes a moment when the heart senses a shift that words can barely explain, a sacred point in your journey where grace steps forward. It is that invisible intersection between exhaustion and endurance, where you realize you didn't make it this far on strength alone. Mercy carried you through the wilderness. But now grace takes the lead. Grace is not an emotion, it is divine energy. It is the invisible current that turns impossible into inevitable. It's the gentle yet unstoppable force that pushes open doors too heavy for human hands. Where mercy rescued you, grace now empowers you. Mercy said, "You may start again." Grace says, "Now you will rise." In this season, heaven is exchanging your weariness for strength. The same hands that once lifted you from the pit are now clothing you with new power. You have survived the waiting, endured the breaking, and passed through the refining fire. Now grace steps forward, not as an idea, but as a personified presence that walks beside you, guiding your every step. We are reminded through the words written in 2 Corinthians, chapter 12, verse 9, "My grace is sufficient for you, for my power is made perfect in weakness." That verse is not poetic comfort, it is a declaration of divine reality. Your weakness is not a limitation, it is an invitation. Every place where you feel small is the exact place where heaven wants to show its magnitude. You have tried in your own strength and found the end of it, and that was the moment grace began. There were days you wanted to give up, to retreat into silence, to close your heart so it wouldn't hurt anymore. But grace kept whispering, "One more step." Grace met you in the hallway between despair and destiny and said, "You will not die here." That whisper was not your imagination. It was the voice of the Spirit pulling you forward when your own will had run dry. Grace does not erase pain, but it transforms its purpose. What once wounded you now becomes your weapon. Every scar on your soul turns into a scripture written by survival. Every tear you cried becomes oil for your anointing. That is the power of grace. It does not deny the storm. It teaches you to walk on its waves. When grace steps forward, everything shifts quietly but completely. Fear loses its grip. Condemnation falls silent. Shame dissolves in the light of divine truth. You realize that God never chose you because you were flawless. He chose you because you were faithful. And where faith meets grace, miracles are born. Think of grace as a river. You don't have to push it or force it. You simply have to step in and let it carry you. You don't strive to move it. It moves you. Many drown trying to swim in their own strength. But the chosen ones learn to float on the current of trust. You are not trying to reach grace. You are already in it. And when you begin to live from that awareness, peace becomes effortless. You no longer fear failure, because you know grace is woven into your story like oxygen into breath. It's not something you summon, it's something you recognize. Even your mistakes have been rerouted by grace. What you thought would disqualify you has become the very platform from which God will glorify Himself. Your brokenness has not made you useless, it has made you usable. The cracks in your vessel are not flaws, they are passageways through which the light escapes. Grace does not patch the cracks, it fills them with glory. There is something liberating about understanding that you don't have to earn what's already been given. You no longer pray out of panic, but out of peace. You no longer chase affirmation, because grace affirms you first. It whispers, "You are enough, not because you've done everything right, but because I am with you, chosen one." Grace is not a backup plan for your failures, it is the foundation of your destiny. Everything that will unfold in the next chapters of your life depends on your ability to rest in that truth. Grace is the currency of heaven, and it has been deposited into your life in abundance. When others look at you, they may only see your survival. But heaven sees something more. It sees a vessel overflowing with favor. Grace doesn't just restore what was lost, it multiplies what remains. It takes your little and makes it much. It turns your whispers into testimonies and your weakness into wonders. Think of how morning breaks after the longest night. The horizon doesn't apologize for its light, it simply shines. That's what grace does. It arrives softly, but changes everything it touches. And even now, it is moving through your story, rewriting endings that once felt hopeless. You may not feel worthy of this level of restoration, but that's what makes it grace. It gives where it isn't deserved, heals where it isn't earned, and lifts where logic says you should still be lying in the dust. It is the divine yes spoken over your life when everything else said no. Chosen one. Take comfort in knowing this. Your strength is not the reason you made it this far. Grace is. It caught you when you fell. It carried you when you could not walk. It spoke when your prayers turned into silence. And now it stands before you, extending its hand again, saying, "Come, there is still more." Let this truth settle deeply into your heart. Grace steps forward so you can step freely. You no longer need to strive to prove your worth. You only need to walk in what has already been given. The season of survival is closing, and the season of grace-driven victory begins. Chosen one, you are standing at the edge of fulfillment. Heaven has been preparing you, shaping you, refining every part of you for this moment, the sealing of the promise. What you once waited for in tears is now approaching in quiet triumph. The chapters of delay are closing, and the new book of destiny is being placed into your hands. There is a holy hush in the spirit realm right now, the kind that happens when heaven is signing off on what it has already decreed. The scroll of your life is being sealed with divine approval. You have walked through fire, endured the silence, passed the tests, and remained faithful even when no one saw your faithfulness. This is that moment where heaven says, "It is done." You can feel it if you listen closely. The air is thicker with peace. The days seem charged with hidden meaning. You wake up with expectancy, not because circumstances have changed, but because your spirit knows the season has shifted. The labor of your faith has not been in vain. You are standing beneath an open heaven. The Spirit spoke through the Apostle in 2 Corinthians. Chapter 1, verse 20. For all the promises of God find their yes in Him. That is why through Him we utter our amen to God for His glory. The yes has already been spoken over your life. Heaven has not forgotten a single word God whispered to you in secret. Every prophetic dream, every divine promise, every quiet conviction, it all carries the seal of divine completion. You don't need to chase it, you only need to align with it. This is what sealing looks like. It's when what was promised moves from possibility to permanence. It's when heaven stamps your story with divine finality. No demon, no delay, no doubt can overturn it. What God has signed, no hand can erase. What He seals, no storm can scatter. The waiting has done something powerful in you. It has matured your spirit and anchored your faith. It has taught you to trust God's timing, not just His power, because true faith is not measured by how loudly you believe when it's easy, but by how quietly you hold on when everything seems silent. And you, chosen one, have held on. Now, the old cycle breaks. You can almost hear the sound of heavenly doors swinging open. Promises that once seemed far are being magnetized toward your life. The tide is turning, the wind is changing direction. You are entering a season where your yes meets heaven's amen. There's something sacred about endings, they make way for beginnings. And the sealing of this promise means that one chapter is closing so another can begin. You may feel a bittersweet tug, as if you are leaving behind something familiar. But remember this, every ending ordained by heaven is simply the threshold of glory. You will begin to notice subtle shifts, conversations that open new doors, opportunities that align perfectly, divine connections that feel too precise to be coincidence. That's heaven confirming the seal. When God closes one book, he immediately begins writing the next. Chosen one, as this word finds you, receive it not as a prediction but as a confirmation. You are not waiting for the promise anymore. The promise is waiting for you to step into it. Heaven has already declared completion. All that remains is your agreement. In this moment of divine sealing, let there be a sign in the earth that mirrors the decree in heaven. Type 555 inches, the comments. Let it be your prophetic response, your earthly echo to heaven's final word. Why 555? Because 5 is the number of grace. And when heaven triples it, it becomes the seal of abundant favor, grace upon grace upon grace. It signifies that your waiting season is over and your walking season has begun. It's heaven's code for transition, transformation, and triumph. When you type those numbers, you are saying, I agree with heaven's timing. I receive what has been sealed. It's a simple act, but in the spiritual realm, agreement unlocks manifestation. Take a deep breath. Can you feel it? The weight lifting from your shoulders, the tension dissolving from your spirit. That's what it feels like when heaven finalizes something. You no longer have to strive. You no longer have to fear missing your moment. What is sealed for you cannot be stolen from you. From this day forward, walk with assurance. The same God who spoke the promise has also sealed it. You may not see the full picture yet, but it is already complete in the eternal. The blueprint is finished. The ink has dried. And when the manifestation begins to unfold, you will not have to force it. The doors will open naturally. The timing will align perfectly. And the peace within you will testify that this is the Lord's doing. You have endured the waiting room. Now you are stepping into the fulfillment hall. Heaven is sealing this chapter, not to end your story, but to announce its continuation stronger, brighter, and anchored in grace. Type it, believe it, walk in it. The seal of promise rests upon you. Chosen one, heaven has said yes, and now, so must you. Chosen one. When the storm finally passes, there is a stillness that fills the air, a silence that doesn't come from emptiness, but from completion. You can almost feel heaven exhale, as if creation itself acknowledges that the battle has ended. The war you once thought would destroy you has now crowned you. What was meant to break you has built you instead. You have survived what others could not have endured. You walked through valleys of rejection, confusion, and loneliness. Yet you did not lose your light. You may have staggered, but you never surrendered. That endurance, quiet, unseen, and sacred, is what heaven calls victory. There are moments when the human heart wonders if the crown is worth the cost. You've paid in tears, in waiting, in silent obedience. You've been misunderstood, underestimated, and at times even mocked for your faith. But every moment of endurance was recorded in eternity. The unseen audience of heaven watched you hold your ground when it would have been easier to walk away. Now, the time of hiddenness fades. The crown comes after the storm, not before it. You are being adorned with honor, not because of perfection, but because of perseverance. The storms you survived have become jewels in your spiritual crown. Each scar glows with the light of victory. As the apostle wrote in James, chapter 1, verse 12, "Blessed is the one who perseveres under trial, for having stood the test, that person will receive the crown of life that the Lord has promised to those who love him." That crown of life is not only a future reward, it is a present reality. It is the glory resting upon those who have refused to give up. You are wearing it even now, though you may not yet see its shimmer. It radiates through your patience, your compassion, your wisdom, your newfound peace. Every area that once carried pain now carries power. The storms taught you how to hear the voice of God in chaos. They trained your heart to discern truth in the middle of confusion. They stripped away everything false until only the eternal remained. The winds that once roared against you now bow before you, because you learned how to stand in their midst without breaking. Chosen one, the crown you wear was not given lightly, it was forged through endurance. Like a blacksmith hammering gold into shape, God used hardship as heat and perseverance as pressure. Every hammer strike hurt, but each one shaped you into something unbreakable. The final design is nothing less than royal. And royalty, in the kingdom of heaven, doesn't look like luxury, it looks like humility. The greatest crowns are worn by those who know what it is to kneel. You've learned to bow before you rise, to serve before you reign, to love before you lead. That is the mark of divine kingship. The world measures victory by applause, heaven measures it by faithfulness, and by heaven's standard, you have triumphed. The crown resting on your spirit is proof that your trials were not wasted. They have turned into authority. You now carry the power to speak peace into storms, because you've lived through them. When you speak now, your words carry weight. They come from places deepened by suffering and strengthened by grace. Others will find healing through the lessons you've lived. Your presence will become a refuge for the weary, not because you avoided the storm, but because you've learned how to survive one. That's the divine exchange. Pain becomes purpose, scars become strength, and loss becomes legacy. You no longer carry wounds, you carry wisdom. You no longer cry from fear, you cry from gratitude. Chosen one, take a moment and breathe in the peace of this truth. You are no longer in survival mode. The fight that defined your past has prepared you for leadership. You are now a carrier of calm. When storms arise around you, others will look to you for guidance, and you will know what to say, because you have walked through the same darkness and found the light. The crown you wear is invisible to most, but heaven sees it clearly. Angels recognize it. Darkness fears it, because that crown is not made of gold or gems, it's made of resilience, obedience, and faith that would not die. There will still be challenges, yes, but now you face them from a place of victory, not vulnerability. You've been crowned with endurance. You no longer react to chaos. You rule through peace. You no longer chase approval. You walk in divine assurance. You no longer fear loss. You understand restoration. And though you may not yet see the fullness of what this crown represents, it is already changing the atmosphere around you. The authority of one who has overcome cannot be imitated. It can only be earned through endurance. So, lift your head, chosen one. You are no longer defined by what you lost, but by what you gained through the storm. Wear your invisible crown with quiet confidence. You have been refined, restored, and now revealed. Heaven calls you faithful. The earth will soon call you fruitful. You are crowned after the storm, not just as a survivor, but as a symbol of what grace can accomplish in one who refuses to give up. Chosen one. Restoration never ends with mere recovery. It always overflows. What God returns to you is never equal to what was lost. It comes pressed down, shaken together, running over, spilling into every corner of your existence. The season you are stepping into is not one of balance, but of abundance. Heaven is not restoring to meet your need. It is restoring to display its nature. The Father does not operate with limitation. When He restores, He multiplies. When He blesses, He overwhelms. When He gives, He does so until you can no longer contain it. You are entering a time where blessings will not arrive as isolated miracles, but as waves, continuous, layered, unending. Think of a river after heavy rain. The water that once trickled now roars with life, bursting its banks, touching lands it had never reached before. That is the picture of your coming overflow. You will not need to chase opportunities. They will flow toward you. You will not have to strain for provision. It will rise to meet you. This is what happens when heaven's abundance meets an obedient heart. The words of the psalmist echo this divine truth in Psalm chapter 23, verse 5. You prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies. You anoint my head with oil. My cup overflows. The cup of your life is being refilled, not just to the brim but beyond it. Every area that once ran dry, finances, relationships, creativity, purpose will begin to experience supernatural saturation. The desert that once defined you will bloom again, lush and alive. The same places where you cried will soon become the same places where you laugh. This overflow is not about luxury or excess, it's about testimony. When God fills your cup, He expects you to pour. You will become the evidence of His generosity, a living example that His promises are not poetic, but practical. You will be the vessel through which others witness divine abundance in motion. Chosen one. Your overflow is connected to your endurance. You did not quit when you had nothing left. And now heaven trusts you with much. God only pours into vessels that will pour out again. You have been tested and found faithful. And now the flow begins. The abundance that's coming will not make you proud, it will make you grateful. It will not distance you from others, it will draw you closer to those in need. You will find joy, not only in what you receive, but in what you are able to give. Because in the kingdom, true wealth is measured by generosity, not accumulation. You've seen scarcity. You've tasted loss. That is why you will handle overflow with wisdom. You will not worship the gift, but the giver. You will understand that abundance is not for indulgence, but for impact. The more God gives, the more you will build, bless, and breathe life into others. Picture your life as a vineyard after years of drought. The roots that reached deep in search of water will now drink freely. The branches that hung low in exhaustion will stretch toward the light again. Fruit will grow in clusters, sweet, unexpected, abundant. Others will taste of it and know that your God restores beyond measure. There will be moments where you'll pause and realize that what once caused you pain has now become your platform. The same area of loss will produce the greatest fruit. The business that failed will birth new vision. The relationship that broke will make room for divine partnership. The dream that died will resurrect with greater reach. Overflow does not mean a life without challenges. It means challenges no longer intimidate you. You will walk through future storms with confidence, knowing that your source is not the rain, it's the river within you. And this overflow will not be limited to tangible blessings. Peace will overflow. Joy will overflow. Creativity will overflow. You'll wake up with ideas that solve problems, with courage that moves mountains, with compassion that heals hearts. This is the divine rhythm of restoration. It fills you until you spill into everything around you. Chosen one, understand this: your abundance will not be quiet. It will make noise without arrogance, shining without effort. The very atmosphere around you will change because abundance has a sound, a resonance of gratitude, laughter, and light. This is your inheritance, not survival, but saturation, not fragments, but fullness. You've walked through lack long enough to appreciate overflow, and heaven, in its perfect timing, is now saying, "It is time." So lift your eyes, not in pride, but in praise. Look around you. Signs of overflow are already appearing. The phone call, the opportunity, the unexpected peace, the return of something you thought was gone forever. These are the early drops before the downpour. The same God who restored your brokenness is now releasing your abundance. You are no longer standing in the ruins of what was. You are standing in the rain of what is becoming. Let your heart remain open, for the flow will not stop. It will pass through you, multiplying as it moves. You are a river now, not a reservoir. You are not simply being blessed, you are becoming a blessing. Chosen one. When heaven begins to pour fresh oil, it is not a random drizzle, it is an intentional anointing for the next assignment. You are not stepping into a repeat of the past, you are crossing into the flow of glory. The atmosphere around your life is shifting because the presence of God is thickening. Every trial that once felt like a curse has become the soil for divine promotion. You are being positioned, refined, and prepared to carry a greater measure of glory than before. The ancient promise whispers again in 1 John, chapter 2, verse 27. The anointing you received from him remains in you. That means what heaven placed upon you will never evaporate. Anointing is not a fragrance that fades, it's an essence that deepens. It seeps into the pores of your purpose, saturating every dream, every plan, every prayer you've ever whispered. Think of oil. When it flows, it finds every crack, every dry place, every crevice that needs healing. That's what divine anointing does. It fills the gaps left by pain, smooths the rough edges of disappointment, and sets your heart ablaze again. This oil is not given to decorate you, it's given to empower you. It is the invisible armor of heaven that shields your destiny from corrosion. You've been through a long season of crushing, pressing, stretching, breaking, and that was not cruelty. It was the making of oil. Just as olives must be crushed to release what's hidden within them, your trials have released the fragrance of your calling. Heaven has been preparing you, not punishing you. And now, the press is over, the oil is flowing. You may not notice it at first, but the evidence will soon surround you. Doors will open effortlessly. Conversations will align with divine timing. People who once ignored you will suddenly be drawn to the light you carry. The oil attracts favor because it carries the scent of heaven. Chosen one. This is your reminder. You were never meant to do this alone. The anointing that rests on your life is not just for you, it's for those connected to you. Those who hear, see, and feel the fire burning through your obedience. Every time you share what God gives you, you extend the fragrance of that oil. So, when you like, when you share, when you subscribe, understand this: you're not supporting a message, you're sustaining a movement. You are helping keep the lamp burning for someone who's still walking in the night. Every engagement is like pouring a little more oil into the flame so that it doesn't go out. And if you've ever wondered whether your contribution matters, let me remind you of the widow with her last jar of oil. She didn't think she had much to give, but when she poured it out, heaven multiplied it. Her obedience created overflow. When you give, when you sow, when you help this message continue, it's not a transaction, it's a testimony. It says, I believe in keeping the light burning. Your generosity becomes part of the story heaven tells about restoration. Every like extends reach. Every share sends light into another corner of darkness. Every donation becomes fuel for words that heal. And every comment, it's more than feedback, it's fellowship. When you write what's stirring in your spirit, you make this moment sacred. Someone reading may find courage in your words and strength in your faith. Because this isn't just content, it's communion. It's a digital altar built from collective hope. Every interaction adds another stone, another flame, another echo of belief. Chosen one. The oil is flowing through you now. You're not just a listener, you're a carrier. Your presence in this space is prophetic. You are part of the outpouring. And as you pour into others, heaven refills you. It's a divine cycle. What you give returns multiplied. What you bless grows brighter. What you support becomes eternal. Take a moment. Let gratitude rise like incense. You are here, still standing, still shining. You've walked through fire, and now you smell like oil, not smoke. You've been pressed, but the fragrance of your endurance is filling the air. The flow of glory is resting on you, and nothing can stop what heaven has begun. If this message has stirred something in you, leave a reflection in the comments, your word of agreement, your sentence of gratitude, your whisper of faith. Your voice might be the spark that lights someone else's lamp tonight. Stay in the flow. Stay connected. Stay faithful, because this stream of glory is only widening, and those who choose to flow with it will never run dry. Heaven's oil is abundant, and you, chosen one, are part of the reason it still pours. Chosen one, you carry light, not the kind that flickers with emotion or circumstance, but a fire that was breathed into your being before time began. You have felt it at times, this strange, unexplainable awareness that you don't belong entirely to darkness. Even in your hardest seasons, there was always a spark in you that refused to die. That spark was divine. It was the mark of heaven within you, proof that you were never meant to blend in with the night. Your light does not depend on perfect conditions. It doesn't wait for peace to shine. It glows strongest in the places where hope seems absent. It is in the silence of despair, in the weight of loss, in the ache of loneliness, that your inner flame burns the brightest. Darkness cannot comprehend you because it cannot contain you. As Jesus himself declared in Matthew, chapter 5, verse 14, "You are the light of the world. A city on a hill cannot be hidden." That verse is not just encouragement, it is identity. You are that city, radiant and undeniable. You were not placed here to hide your flame, but to illuminate the way for others who have forgotten the sound of morning. Every act of kindness, every word of truth, every moment of courage becomes another window where light escapes from your soul into a world still learning how to see. There were times when you mistook your light for a burden. You wondered why certain people distanced themselves from you, why certain spaces felt uncomfortable, why your spirit never fully blended in. The truth is, darkness feels uneasy in the presence of light, not because of what you say, but because of what you carry. You do not have to announce your anointing, it announces itself. Light exposes, light heals, light reveals what others cannot see, and that is why your presence disrupts what is false and awakens what is real. You may not realize it, but the very atmosphere shifts when you walk into a room. You bring conviction where compromise has settled. You bring warmth where hearts have grown cold. You bring hope where despair has built walls. But carrying light is not always easy. It means being misunderstood. It means being seen as too much by those who are content with shadows. It means walking alone at times, because light and darkness cannot dwell comfortably together. Yet even in that isolation, you are never truly alone. The one who kindled your light walks within you. There is a responsibility that comes with illumination. To bear light is to become a mirror of mercy. You reflect what the world forgets, that love still conquers, that grace still redeems, that truth still stands unshaken. Your light terrifies darkness, not because of its brightness, but because of its persistence. No matter how many times life tried to extinguish you, you refuse to fade. That resilience is sacred. It is proof of divine endurance. Chosen one, the world needs what you carry. Your restoration is not only for you, it's for those still searching in shadows. Every healed wound in you becomes a torch for someone else's path. You are not just recovering, you are becoming a lighthouse. There will be souls who find their way home because you refuse to dim. Your presence alone is prophetic. When you smile after sorrow, when you stand after loss, when you bless those who once hurt you, you radiate something heaven recognizes. It is as though the universe pauses to watch the miracle of persistence, the testimony of light unbroken. And as your restoration unfolds, your illumination will intensify. The more God heals you, the brighter you will shine. This is why you had to go through what you did, so your light would not be shallow or artificial. It had to be forged through fire, refined through tears, strengthened through endurance. You will begin to notice it soon, people drawn to your peace without understanding why. Strangers who open their hearts in your presence, children who smile when you pass. These are not random moments, they are signs that the light within you is touching the world. Do not fear the responsibility of radiance. You are not expected to shine by effort, you shine by existence. The same Spirit that spoke, "Let there be light," is the same Spirit that dwells within you now. Your job is not to create the flame, but to guard it, feed it with truth, protect it from bitterness, and let it rest in gratitude. Chosen one, your restoration has become revelation. You are light, and light cannot be hidden. You are the answer to someone's night, the signpost on someone's lost road. Every time you walk in truth, you push the darkness back a little farther. And one day, when you look around and see the glow spreading beyond you, you'll understand this was never just about your healing. It was about the world seeing God's glory through your resilience. The light in you terrifies darkness because it reminds it that its reign is ending. And you, chosen one, are heaven's proof that darkness never wins. Chosen one. There comes a time when every thread of your story begins to make sense. You look back and see how every loss, every delay, every detour was not random, it was all architecture. Heaven has been weaving purpose into the fabric of your life so quietly that you almost missed it. But now the pattern emerges, and what once felt chaotic begins to reveal divine symmetry. Glory, this is what it was always leading to. Not the shallow kind that fades with applause, but the deep, unshakable glory that transforms you from the inside out. This glory does not merely shine upon you, it radiates from within you. It is the visible evidence of everything you've survived, everything you've surrendered, everything you've become. As the Apostle wrote in 1 Corinthians, chapter 2, verse 9, "What no eye has seen, nor ear heard, nor the heart of man imagined, what God has prepared for those who love him." You are stepping into that unseen promise now. The plans of heaven for your life exceed comprehension. They are not limited to the recovery of what was lost. They encompass revelation, purpose, and legacy. God is not simply giving back what was taken, He is revealing who you were always meant to be. All along, restoration was never about things, it was about unveiling identity. Every loss stripped away what was temporary so that the eternal could surface. You had to lose certain versions of yourself to make room for your divine self to emerge. That is why what's ahead will not resemble what was behind. You are not returning to old ground, you are ascending to holy ground. There is a peace that comes with this realization, a quiet glory that fills your chest when you understand that nothing was wasted. The nights of crying became your covenant. The waiting became your wisdom. The rejection became your redirection. Every fragment of pain was a brushstroke on the masterpiece of your purpose. And now, the radiance of what you carry will speak louder than your explanations ever could. People will look at your life and see proof that grace is real. They'll recognize that something sacred rests on you, a glow that does not come from circumstance but from communion, the kind of light that cannot be bought, taught, or faked. You have become what heaven envisioned, a vessel of glory, not because you forced it, but because you yielded. Glory always finds those who refuse to quit, those who trust even when they tremble. You didn't need to be perfect. You only needed to be persistent. Chosen one. This glory is not ornamental, it's functional. It carries weight. It influences atmospheres. When you speak, it will not be noise but resonance. When you move, things will shift around you. You will not need to announce what has changed. People will feel it. Heaven's signature is now on everything you touch. You are the living proof that beauty can rise from ashes, that peace can grow from pain, that light can emerge from darkness. This is the miracle. What once broke you now blesses others through you. Every scar has become a story that points back to the one who restores. And as this glory deepens, you will find yourself drawn to stillness more than striving. You will crave presence more than performance. The hunger that once drove you to chase validation will be replaced with a quiet knowing you are already enough. You are already loved. You are already chosen. In this awareness, you will begin to see God in everything: the laughter of children, the rhythm of rain, the whisper of wind through trees. You'll realize that heaven isn't distant, it's interwoven through every breath, every heartbeat, every moment of your existence. Restoration has given you new eyes to see the divine in the ordinary. Chosen one, you have reached the place where striving ends and shining begins. The journey was never about earning glory, it was about discovering it. It was always inside you, waiting for the weight of struggle to polish it into brilliance. Now walk forward, not as the one who lost, but as the one who found meaning in loss. Not as the wounded, but as the healed. Not as the forgotten, but as the revealed. Your story is no longer a tale of survival, it's a revelation of glory. And when others behold you, they will not just see you, they will see the reflection of God's faithfulness written across your soul. This is the full circle of restoration, not the return of what was, but the revelation of who you are, God's chosen, refined, radiant, crowned with a glory that cannot be imagined, only lived. Chosen one. You've reached the end of this journey, but in truth, it's only the beginning. What has been spoken over you in these words is more than inspiration, it is impartation. Heaven has been whispering through every paragraph, gently reminding you of who you are and who you are becoming. Restoration has unfolded not only in your circumstances, but within your spirit. Pause for a moment. Feel that quiet warmth rising in your chest. That's peace, the kind that doesn't visit and leave, but chooses to stay. You've been refined, revived, and realigned. You have seen the wilderness, the reversal, the promise, the glory, and now you stand as a living testimony that God restores beyond imagination. As you go forward, carry this light. Let your presence continue the message. Be the reason someone else keeps believing. The proof that faith still works, that love still wins, that God still moves. If this message has spoken to your heart, don't let it end here. Like the ripple that expands long after the stone has been thrown, your engagement helps the word reach another soul who may be standing at the edge of giving up. When you like, when you share, when you comment, you are not just interacting, you are sowing light. You are spreading hope in a world that is desperate for it. And if this space has become a source of peace for you, subscribe to stay connected. You never know which word might arrive just when you need it most. Write below what stirred in your heart. Your reflection may be the confirmation someone else has prayed for. Together, we build this altar of hope stone by stone, story by story, heart by heart. Heaven is smiling on you. Chosen one, the restoration has begun, and it will not stop until your life overflows with glory.